Good morning, everyone. I'm recording this message today because it's the first time we've ever attempted this from our home, and also we want to be able to share it with folks anytime they want to see it. I really felt led of the Lord today to look at 2 Chronicles chapter 20. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, the king Jehoshaphat was faced with a great enemy like he had never been before. And our nation is facing an enemy like never before. This virus has people in their homes, away from their jobs, away from their schools, away from their normal activities. It's causing difficulties financially, but most of all, it should not cause us difficulties spiritually. Because while everything else has changed all around us, one thing that has not changed, our God is still the same. As we look at this, we want to focus on verse 12 first of all, because that's where we get the title for our message. In verse 12, Jehoshaphat prays, O Lord our God, will not thou judge them? I have no might against this great company that cometh against us, neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon thee. If we would title this message this morning, we would entitle it, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And Jehoshaphat, when he heard about this great army coming against him, said in verse number 3, And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek the Lord, and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. And Judah gathered themselves together to ask help of the Lord. Even out of all the cities of Judah, they came to seek the Lord. There was great fear in the land. Jehoshaphat himself, as the leader, feared. But what we do with that fear is what makes the difference. We live in a time now when people are fearful. But we that know the Lord need to share with them the hope that we have in the Lord, that he can handle anything. And Jehoshaphat not only feared, but he set himself to seek the Lord, and then he led his people to do the same, to seek the Lord, to ask his help. And that's what we can do also, is to seek the Lord's help in this great time of need. And then the next thing we need to remember is what God's able to do. Jehoshaphat, when he started seeking the Lord, he starts praying to God. And Jehoshaphat stood in verse 5 in the congregation of Judah and Jerusalem in the house of the Lord before the new court, and said, O Lord God of our fathers, art not thou God in heaven, and rulest thou not over all the kingdoms of the heathen? Thine hand there is not power and might, so that there is none able to withstand thee. Art thou not our God, who didst drive out the inhabitants of this land before thy people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham thy friend forever? And they dwell therein, have built thee a sanctuary there for thy name, saying, If evil come upon us, as a sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we stand before this house, in this presence, for thy name is in this house, cry unto thee in our affliction, then thou wilt hear and help. He reminded God who he was. He reminded God that his people had trusted in him. He reminded God of what he'd done in the past. And we need to do the same. We need to remember who our God is. We need to remember what he's been able to do in the past. And then in verse 10, we see that he says this, And now, behold, the children of Ammon, Moab, Mount Seir, whom thou wouldst not let Israel invade when they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say how they reward us to come and cast us out of thy possession, in which thou hast given us to inherit. He says, and now. See, now the enemy's different. Now the situation has changed. And now we see ourselves and our nation and the world even under the influence of this great virus. And now, what do? The enemy is different. The situations are different. But our God is still the same. He can still give us victory. He can still give us peace. He can still give us hope as we trust in him. As he says in verse 12, as we've already read earlier, And, O God, thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us, neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon thee. And all Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, their wives, and their children. And then verse 14 says, Then God answered. Then God showed them what they needed to do. It says, Then upon Jehaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jael, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, came the Spirit of the Lord in the midst of the congregation. In verse 15, he said, Hearken ye all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat, thus saith the Lord unto you, Be not afraid, or dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. For the sake of time, we're not going to read the rest of this, but we realize that God gave them a great victory, that they didn't even have to fight in the battle, because it's God's battle, not ours. And what I want us to understand is simply this: be not afraid, be not dismayed, because our God is still in control. And we need to be trusting Him, leaning upon Him, seeking His wisdom and hope, and sharing that with the folks that we come in contact with every day. And we need to let people know that God is still God, and He can do great things. This is a brand new enemy, a brand new challenge, but our God is not taken by surprise. Our God is not overwhelmed. So I just ask you to practice the safe distance rules and regulations that our government has set upon us, because they're for our good. But also, don't keep your distance from God. Draw near to Him, He'll draw near to you. I hope this is a blessing to you. If we can help you in any way, if there's anything you need at all, please don't hesitate to call us. We'll be praying for you. Thank you.